Since the emergence of social networks, we see more and more couples selling us a dream life, money, beauty, love, but we don't really know what is hidden behind the image of these perfect couples. Today I'm talking about Ali and Ana Abulaban. It's the story of a toxic love. Behind a carefully crafted public image hid a destructive jealousy that will lead this couple into a descent into hell with a tragic end. Hello everyone. The case I am talking about today is a fairly recent case, since the facts took place in October 2021. I therefore invite you to make yourself comfortable in order to discover with me all the details of the Ali Abulaban case. Ali and Ana were a nice couple. Ali was 29 years old, and Ana a year younger than him. Ana was born in 1993 in Okinawa, Japan. Her parents were from the Philippines. They had emigrated before Ana was born and lived in the land of the rising sun. Her father worked on a U.S. military base, and so Ana attended the base's high school. After graduating from high school, she graduated from the Technological University of the Philippines. Ana was a pretty young woman. She was very popular. She was said to be charming and intelligent. At the military base where her father had worked and where she had lived, she met Ali Abulaban, a young American of Palestinian origin who was also based in Japan. He was born on May 18, 1992, in Staten Island and had just joined the army. He was immediately seduced by Ana's beauty and sweetness. She appreciated his humor and his extroverted side because Ali from a young age loved to be the center of attention. He was very outgoing and creative, and he dreamed of a career in the artistic world. It was a real vocation for him, and at a very young age he tried his luck. At the age of 14 he was part of a music group, but the success was not there. And when they were in their 20s and his artistic career was not taking off, he decided to make an about-face in order to try the military experience. This is how he ended up in the same military base as Ana's father. Between Ali and Ana, it was love at first sight. Very quickly, they embarked on a passionate love story. Ali was Ana's first serious boyfriend, and she fell head over heels in love with him. He too was crazy about her. He found her beautiful and considered himself lucky to be with such a beautiful woman, especially since Ali had a very narcissistic personality, and being on the arm of such a pretty woman flattered his image as well as his ego. Ali was a rather jealous and possessive young man. The pretty Ana was his girlfriend, and he intended to do everything to keep this hold. Very quickly, Ana, focused on her story, distanced herself from her friends to devote herself to her budding love. On January 27, 2017, they were married, and Ana quickly became pregnant. The mission to go into the army was coming to an end, and the couple decided to move to the United States, and more precisely to Virginia, because that was where Ali's family was. It was in the United States that Ana gave birth to a pretty little girl named Amira. For the couple, it was a new life full of hope that was offered to them. Ali, who had always dreamed of being famous and working in the artistic world, launched, like many young people, on social networks. He staged himself in small parodies and sketches that he published both on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. He was passionate about cinema and dreamed of becoming an actor. And his idol was Al Pacino, notably in Scarface. He also often parodied Tony Montana with a certain talent, for example by confronting him with other heroes of films such as John Wick. He was known on social media as JinnKid. For her part, Ana seemed to be living the American dream. She was married to the man she loved. Together they had a pretty little girl whom she took care of during the day. And she also sometimes participated in her husband's videos. In 2019, Ali posted a video that went viral and very quickly gained a lot of subscribers, whether on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. His fame grew, these humorous videos were more and more appreciated, and he started to earn money. His dream was about to come true. Finally, his talent began to be recognized, and the fact of being in a relationship with the pretty Ana was the little extra. This helped to project a positive image of his life, of the character he had created for himself. As Ali became more and more successful on the networks, Ana decided to go for it too, and she set up an Instagram account. Surely boosted by her husband's success, she met with great success and very quickly gained her first 10,000 subscribers. The couple seemed to have everything to be happy. Ali had always dreamed of being famous. It was now done. For your information, he had just under 1 million subscribers on TikTok, 270,000 subscribers on YouTube, and about 250,000 subscribers on Instagram. He was starting to earn a comfortable living, and Ana was also starting to make money as an influencer on Instagram. At the end of 2020, Ana managed to convince Ali to move to San Diego. Indeed, in Virginia, Ana had no friends. She only knew Ali's friends, and she felt a little lonely. In San Diego, she had several friends, the daughter of a soldier, whom she had met at the Okinawa base in Japan, and she really wanted to get closer to these friends. Ali quickly analyzed the pros and cons and thought that this move to California could be a good thing for the evolution of his career. Ali and Ana, who were earning a comfortable living, decided to settle in San Diego, but not just anywhere. To live up to their new standing, they moved to a trendy and super popular neighborhood in the East Village. It is the young and upscale district of the city. There are many companies, a multitude of luxury residential buildings, but also dozens of clubs, bars, rooftops, the ideal place for a young couple of influencers. And it was in a luxurious apartment located on the 35th floor that they put down their suitcases. Unfortunately, contrary to what they thought, it was not the dream life they were going to live, but a real descent into hell. Ana, who had just met up with her friends, was delighted with her new life. She often saw her friends and went out a lot. This allowed her to feed her social networks. She showed herself at the gym, at the spa with her friends, during these evenings in nightclubs. The only small problem is that Ali was not at all appreciated by his girlfriends, which was reciprocated. They found him boastful, condescending, and aggressive. He kept bragging about his success on social networks. He only talked about himself, often cutting off the floor to impose himself during conversations. In addition, he always walked around armed, which greatly displeased Ana's friends. He didn't like them very much either, and he didn't hesitate to let it be known. He thought Ana was way too much with her friends. She was becoming more independent. She was starting to be more successful. She was earning her own money, and he felt like he was starting to lose the control he had over her. Because, as I told you earlier, he was proud to be with a pretty young woman, but he was also very jealous and possessive. He always wanted to know where his wife was with whom and what she was doing. He was becoming paranoid. He thought that these outings with girlfriends were an opportunity to meet new men. He said that his girlfriends were a bad influence on her. When they phoned Ana, she sometimes picked up the phone for her. He would then be very unpleasant by asking them what she wanted and why they were calling him. While more tensions appeared in the couple, on social networks, both continued to sell the image of a united, close-knit, and loving couple. They were often seen together with their little daughter, but the reality was much bleaker. Little by little, Ali began to be intoxicated by the success. He began to use some snow. At first it was just festive, but soon he started to consume it regularly. And on top of that, he also drank a lot of alcohol. In fact, one day during an Instagram live, he started snorting snow live. At first, the spectators thought it was a sketch, that it was done on purpose, but they quickly understood that it was true, and it shocked many people. The next day, he made an announcement to apologize half-heartedly, saying that it was the first time he had taken cocaine, that he was apologizing, and he even made a whole speech about the dangers of drugs. Despite the tensions, the couple earned a very comfortable living. They took the opportunity to go out, show off their life, their daily life. But this life of appearance only reinforced Ali's jealousy and paranoia. The arguments became more frequent. He reproached her for going out too much. He was afraid of losing her. He was afraid that she would leave him for another man. Progressively, As he was touching his dream, Ali loses his feet. His mental state was deteriorating, but not only his physical state was also declining. He was losing weight. He was regularly using snow and alcohol. I'll tell you a little anecdote. Ali had a cousin who lived in San Diego. He used to go out with him. One night, when the two of them were in a bar, Ali took a large packet of snow and put it on the table in front of everyone. Shocked, his cousin asked him to put it away because if the manager saw it, they would surely fire him. And then, Ali replied with a laugh, "I'm JinnKid, I do what I want, no one can stop me. I am JinnKid." This anecdote told by his cousin shows us that he was losing his sense of reality. He thought that his success on the networks to protect him made him invincible. As his marriage deteriorated, he became more big-headed. He thought he was a star. He felt like his success made him untouchable. Arguments with Ana became more frequent. He could not stand his wife's success and the sexy image she projected. He was both proud because it indirectly valued him, but it also made him very paranoid. In the evenings when he went out to bars, he used to show pictures of Ana. He would boast about her beauty, recount how much he loved her, and he would finally say that he would never let anyone else see her. He became more controlling and possessive. His drug use did not help matters. It made him more and more aggressive. Arguments followed one another in the couple, becoming more violent. Ali had an increasingly uncontrollable behavior. He filmed himself live driving and drinking alcohol, taking powder. But that was not all. One day he had given his 4-year-old daughter a gun and showed her how to hold it. This episode had shocked Ana a lot, and she was increasingly considering ending her marriage even though she suspected that Ali would not make things easy. On October 10th, 2021, it was one argument too many. For some time, the pressure that Ali was exerting on Ana was more and more difficult to bear for the young woman. Her husband, who had become uncontrollable, was doing anything. That day, they argued violently and threw her to the ground in front of their little girl. As she fell, Ana injured herself slightly. It was the last straw for Ana, especially since the scene had taken place in front of their daughter. Ali did a live broadcast just after the argument in which he insulted his wife copiously. Some spectators advised him to stop this live immediately and to go find his wife in order to try to fix things. But Ali loses his mind. Here's an excerpt.
Fucking taking away my whole life? I got a top secret clearance, you trying to fuck that up? Fucking bitch. Fucking talk to me. I'll bring you to San Diego for what? So you can run to your friends? Fucking bitch. You're not even an American citizen. I brought you to this goddamn country. Name one man that would do that shit for you, bitch. Fucking asshole. Women, man. Ungrateful motherfucker.
Ali asked him to leave the apartment. In the process, she asked for a restraining order and contacted a lawyer to initiate the divorce. So he left the family apartment 8 days after the fateful argument and moved to a hotel. But he couldn't accept this situation. He couldn't lose his wife. For 2 days, he harassed her on the phone, and when she did not answer him, he also harassed her friends, or anyone who might be with her. He wanted to know where she was, what she was doing, and especially why she refused to answer him. The people around them tried to reason and advised him to give him some time and space, but Ali would not listen. What no one knew was that Ali had made a duplicate of the keys to the apartment. He had made this double without telling anyone, least of all Ana. Thus, 2 days later, he took advantage of an exit from the ladder to break into her apartment. Once in the apartment, he started to ransack everything, but it wasn't the most serious thing. He installed an application on his granddaughter's tablet that allowed him to hear everything that was happening around the tablet. This way, he could continue to keep an eye on Ana. After installing the app, he called Ana to tell her that he had a duplicate of the keys, that he had entered the apartment and had ransacked everything. But of course, he refrained from talking about the tablet. He then left the apartment and returned to the hotel. After this call, Ana returned home in the afternoon, but she did not return alone. She was accompanied by a friend of hers, a certain Rayburn Barron. There is not much information about him, but what is known is that he was 28 years old and that he was from Mexico. It is not known exactly why she came with him that day, but there are several hypotheses. The first is that she would have asked him for help to tidy up the apartment after Ali's ransacking. The second is that she was afraid of her husband, so she would have asked Rayburn to accompany her for her safety. And finally, the third hypothesis is that he would be more than just friends. Anyway, that afternoon, Ana arrives at her apartment with Rayburn. And unfortunately, Ali was also present, spying on them via his daughter's tablet. When he heard a man's voice and laughter, his blood ran wild. He was beside himself. How dare she bring a man to her apartment? He thought his suspicions were confirmed, but Ana deceived him. He then took his gun, loaded, dressed his in the holster he had on his belt. He took his car keys and left in the direction of Ana's apartment, determined to intervene and wash away this affront. All along the way from his hotel to his apartment, he was very excited. He cried, he prayed. He hoped only one thing, that she wouldn't sleep with him. Once he arrived, he was filmed running from the entrance hall to the elevator, which shows his state of excitement. He went up to the 35th floor, rushed out of the elevator and headed for the front door of the apartment. When he entered the room, he found, according to him, Ana and Rayburn on the sofa in the living room. Instantly, his blood ran wild, and he shot the poor boy 3 times, who had no time to react, hitting him in the neck, cheek, and back of the head. Rayburn collapsed immediately. Then he turned to a frightened, paralyzed Ana and shot her in the head and the forehead. After his carnage, he left the premises. The shots were heard by several neighbors, and one of them saw him run away from the residence. He then got back in his car and contacted his mother and told her what he had just done. Then he called 911 to inform them that there had been a shooting at Ana's home and to give the address of her apartment. Of course, he was careful not to reveal to them that he was the author of this carnage. He then went to Amira's school, still armed, and while it was not time to leave school, he still picked up his little girl, and they both hit the road. The police arrived at the scene of the crime at 3:10 p.m. They went up to the 35th floor, and when they entered the apartment, they discovered the bodies of Ana and Rayburn in the living room. For the 2 unfortunate people, it was already too late. They were already dead. But very quickly, the police launched a wanted notice. Ali had to be found because he was potentially armed and dangerous. He managed to locate his phone quite easily, and it was on the side of a road that stopped him 45 minutes after his call to 911. Little Amira was safe and sound in the back of the car. Very quickly, he confessed to the crimes. He said that his wife was cheating on him and that he had not tolerated it. He also said that he had phoned his mother to tell her everything. Amira was questioned and said that her father had told her that he had hurt her mother. This poor little girl will never see her mother again. Some believe that Ali had gone to retrieve Amira because he wanted to commit suicide with her. But you will see that he will give another explanation when asked the question. After his arrest, Ali was incarcerated at the George Bailey Detention Center in San Diego and charged with the double murder. And despite his confession, he pleaded not guilty on Monday, October 25th, 2021, when he was indicted. On that day, a dozen family members of the victims were present. Some of them could not hold back their tears when the prosecutor shared the details of the crime. He, for his part, denied having confessed to the crimes. At the beginning of December 2021, against the advice of his lawyers, he agreed to participate in an interview with a television channel, and he would have been better off listening to his lawyers because this interview is going to be a real disaster for him. Through the prison visiting room for 40 minutes, he answered the journalist's questions. He will be extremely emotional and unstable throughout this interview. He will tell his side of the story, but he will very quickly lose his footing and start contradicting himself. He said that when he arrived, he found his wife and Rayburn on the living room couch kissing. Then, a little later in the interview, he will say that when he arrived, he found them already dead. So he went to pick up his daughter from school to get her to safety. He will also talk about his consumption of powder. He will not go to take it first, and then will admit that it was bad for his brain.
Did you kill her?
Don't ask me that. Don't ask me that.
According to the first elements of the investigation, Rayburn was absolutely not Anna's lover. He was just one of her acquaintances. His relatives and family say that he was very helpful and kind. He may have been interested in Anna, but at the time of the murder, everything suggests that they were not having an affair. Ali will say that when he heard a man's voice, he went crazy. It was unbearable for him. Moreover, when he talks about it in the interview, we can see his extreme reaction. He didn't recognize the voice, but for him, it was proof that his wife was cheating on him and he couldn't stand it. As impulsively as his idol Tony Montana, he went to settle accounts in his own way by coldly killing 2 innocent people just out of jealousy. Jurors also found a special circumstance allegation of committing multiple murders true, meaning Abulaban will be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Sentencing was scheduled for June 28, 2024. Finally, sometimes behind the perfect image that some people build for themselves on the networks, there is loneliness, distress, and sadness. The problem is that the youngest or the most impressionable can imagine that social networks show the real life of their idol, when, very often, it is only communication, a world of appearances intended to make their followers fantasize, to make them believe that they are leading a dream life. I have a thought for little Amira, who will have to grow up and build herself without her parents because her father murdered her mother. I hope that she now lives in a stable, loving and caring environment. Thank you for staying with me until the end of the video. If that's the case, put Amira in the comments.